Hello guys, welcome back to the channel once again. Today I'm super uber mega excited to finally share the review of Honey and MJ on this very much anticipated movie of 2025. But before we get into further details and actually discuss everything that went on, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments and your personal review on it if you have watched it. So I just want to say this movie have been hyped up for months and months and months and months. End of time has finally come to where I could have taken some time off to go ahead and go watch and to see if it's actually really worth all that hype or is it just another disappointment. And to be honest, the movie did get a lot of mixed reviews. Some of the people say that despite the movie not being the best, still the chemistry between Honey and MJ just took the movie to the whole next level. But a lot of people are also very disappointed because of the outcome of the movie. So there is a whole lot. Everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has their own thoughts on how things should have went, could have went. But one thing I have to say is that I do agree with the chemistry that the two had. Let me tell you, the chemistry of these two women was on a whole different level, and I definitely felt like those were the best parts, of the movie. So let's get right into it and break down every single detail so you guys can understand, this movie that actually is really good. So first we're gonna start off with Honey. Honey is the main character who plays a private detective investigator. She is involved in a case where the person that passed away is one of her clients. At the beginning of the movie, you can actually see that she start off her scene very spicy, involved with another woman, and yes, she is a out lesbian. She's very proud of who she is, and she wears it on her chest. So she is the main character. The movie does evolve around her, and let me tell you, she played this role perfectly well in my personal opinion. And then moving forward, obviously we have MJ. MJ is a police officer, but is a way more dangerous than what Honey thought she would be. The two actually work together at the police department. Obviously MJ works in a whole different department, and that's how the two start to get romantically involved with one another, because they just felt this mutual attraction to one another, and things just went from 0 to 100 real quick. The film plot centers on their relationship and dynamic between the two. It is set in a small town, a private investigator, Honey, that probes a series from strange passing that are tied to a mysterious church. So I will not be getting into details regarding the whole investigation and the whole other characters. I want to stay on the focus that is to speak about Honey and MJ's relationship. And I also wanted to say, so MJ, when she was, younger, she did go through a lot of trauma when it comes to her family. So when she grew up, she kind of, felt like she is on this revenge path. But obviously at the beginning of the movie, we cannot see that part of her, because she was just playing innocent and all in love with Honey. So Honey, she's a very, how can we say, she knows how to get woman. Like, she has that chemistry, she has that aura, and she's very confident in herself, so she knows how to attract people that she wants to be with. And MJ is a little bit more shy, a little bit more to herself, a little bit more in closet. So they kind of like, when they say opposite attract, this is definitely, a representation of opposite attract. So where is their scene? How does everything begin? So Honey is investigating this case. She's starting to be suspicious about this church. So she goes, and does her job. She goes to the police office to go find more extra information. Then she actually ends up going to the department where, MJ actually works in. And, they just gave each other like that first look. And, in this case, MJ ends up, complimenting Honey. And then later on, Honey, she actually went to a bar where MJ were at. They had this very intense moment. If you guys know, I will highly recommend it. And they were just basically already into one another. They went home, they hooked up, they did their dues. And from that moment on, they just were spending a lot of time together. But things obviously starts to be a little bit shaky, because you can see that Honey's, sister's daughter, she got into trouble. She actually went missing. And not only that, prior to her go missing, you can actually see that, Honey was trying to tell her sister's daughter to stay away from the guy that hurt her. And MJ was also there when, in this case, she went to look for help for Honey. And she was very disappointed to see that, in this case, Honey's, sister daughter is letting, a man do that things to her. And obviously she was, because of her past trauma, she felt like, her daughter in this case is to blame for it, because you shouldn't let nobody put, their hands on you. And later on, you can actually see that the girl went missing. Obviously, Honey is her family member. She did everything she could in order to figure out the truth, and what really happened. So as the movie goes on, she tries to investigate, they cannot find her. And later on, MJ started to, just be a little bit suspicious. She started to be a little bit suspicious. And obviously, Honey, she's a private investigator. She will pick up on things really, really quick. So that's exactly what happens. They started to be like, hey, why is MJ not coming up to work? What is going on? So she called for MJ. MJ wasn't picking up. And later on, Honey, obviously, she got MJ's address. She went to MJ's house. When she got to MJ's house, she was a little bit already suspicious because she was like, why is MJ not she wasn't judging MJ of the way she was living, but she kind of did be like, okay, this is a little bit weird. So she went there and obviously she found MJ in the house. She also found MJ's, yearbook where she actually had a very interesting quote. So that only made her, suspiciousness grow even more. So later on, Honey and MJ, they had this conversation in MJ's kitchen, and MJ were like, okay, yeah, this is definitely didn't what you expected of how I would live. And Honey was like, no, I'm not judging for you, Honey, how you live. You are judging yourself. And then MJ was like, no, this is how I live when my parents passed away and with my job, I don't have money, to be renting out a good luxury or even, just a normal apartment. This is what I have. I don't need you to be looking around judging me because now you will be uninterested in me and all of that. At the beginning, I thought that was it was. But later on, Honey, being who she is, she started to see that MJ had company over and she saw 2 cups of tea and she was like, okay, you had 2 cups of tea, so it means you had company over. Maybe it could have been another woman, but then Honey touched the cup and she saw it was lipstick from, her family member. And she was like, okay, this woman definitely has something to do with the disappearance of my family member. So they actually got into this altercation. In this case, you can see MJ attacked, Honey. Honey attacked MJ back and they got into this back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. And obviously, Honey actually ends up eliminating MJ and, saving her family member who was in danger in MJ's hands. That was the part of the movie that surprised me. I definitely didn't see MJ being the villain of the movie because I actually thought the villain of the movie would have been the owner of the church or, the lady that works with the owner of the church. But one thing I have to say is that MJ got game. Let me tell. Sorry, I didn't mean to say MJ. I mean to say Honey. Honey got game because you thought she just eliminated MJ. She would be like going through it and all of that. No, but she just jumped right to the next one because as the movie progresses, you can see she started to have this very small interactions with a lady on the scooter, which is, the person that actually works with the person of the church who's also a criminal in this case. So, at the end of the movie, you can see both of them at the stoplight, and she was just like, hey, at what time is your flight leaving? And you already know what's about to go down. One thing about Honey is that she moves on. She moves on quickly and she moves on correctly. Like she has this, like I said at the beginning of the movie, like she has this aura where everybody just feel attracted to her, and she knows how to get what she wants from who she wants. She just know that she when you know you that woman, and this is exactly who Honey is. Generally, like I said, I will highly rate this movie a strong 6 out of a 10. It did get low ratings because I feel like the movie could have been way better than it was, especially when it comes to MJ. I thought MJ would get a little bit more of camera time, but it is what it is. The movie is available to watch on Peacock, Apple TV, and Prime Video, and I feel like the title or everybody already knows is called Honey Don't. So yes, go watch Honey Don't and let me know your thoughts on it. I already have given mine. Very good movie, very interesting. Probably, I love the two scenes, the couple of scenes of MJ and in this case Honey together. I feel like they was the best parts of the movie. But let me know your thoughts down below.